disappointed at the beginning of this because Andrew promised me a new picture and nothing happened.
Way to start it. Way to start.
Oh, who started with the bummer now? Come on.
Right?
Such a letdown.
I'm started already disappointed.
Yeah. Well, you can only go up from here.
uh, so how are you doing?
Not too bad, all things considering. Been a bit under the weather the last day or two. But you know what I've discovered is that because I have been, you know, pretty fairly well under the weather, and we don't want to spread any germs around. Anytime I'm leaving the room that I get to hang out in right now, I get to put on rubber gloves, so I get to feel like a thief in my own house as I walk around and can only touch things with rubber gloves on. So shiny
Leave
outside. Yo,
leave no trace behind. Yeah.
exactly. No fingerprints. Awesome. No, as you know, I've been a little bit under the weather, but I'm feeling better, so that's good. How about you?
I've been doing good. Snow here, we had a big dumping of snow and everything's starting to melt. It's feeling a lot like spring and getting ready for our maple syrup season. So that's kind of what's happening here.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like so, in our for Christmas, even though it's well past Christmas, we have like light up uh Christmas animals in our front yard, which don't go away because they're out in the snow. And they were completely buried with all the snow that we got. After the last couple of days of warmer weather, we now their heads are back, so I've got these little heads floating above our snow. Uh, but yeah, so it's my snow gauge of how much snow we have. So we still have a good 2 foot, 2+ feet of snow, but less.
You can at least see the Christmas lights now.
Exactly. That it's not just this weird alien glow underneath the snow.
Whoa. Well, welcome everybody to the Brothers in Smithing podcast, where the two of us get together and talk about our smithing stuff and challenge each other to something new. So, I myself am Andrew, and I am Deer Run Forge. And my nugget for today is actually, I'm going to go with I took my Christmas lights down today. It was such a nice day outside. I took them off the hedge and packed them away.
Wow. Fun nugget. I de-decorated. Woo! Look at the cheer. Well, my name is Kipling, and I am Tapley Tinsmith, the coppersmith tinsmith of our brothers in smithing duo. And my nugget is I just shaved my beard, and when I shave my beard, I look younger than Andrew, even though I'm older than he is. Although not today, because again,
It
I've
is
been feeling a little bit rough the last few days, so it's kind of showing on the face right now. But yeah, yeah, I lose about 15, 20 years.
Yep, easily. He once got ID'd in a place. You were probably what, 30? And they weren't gonna serve him because he didn't it looked too young.
Yeah, something like that.
You were dressed as a
Yeah,
pirate in the middle of the summer,
I,
to be fair, but
there was a couple extenuating circumstances, but yes, they had to check 2 IDs before they believed that I was old enough to have a beer. Yeah, well, I don't get carded anymore. Even when I lose the beard, I still look over 30,
the
just
gray
younger
is
than
a
you.
dead giveaway. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
uh,
So, as a recap, to get back on track, last month on our challenge, we did the Monopoly piece matchup. We both made miniature pieces from our first attempt at casting copper, and I made myself a little Aladdin lamp, little rustic looking, was awesome, best piece out there. Andrew did a anvil. Ooh, surprise! The blacksmith made an anvil.
just an
It was very
anvil.
shiny.
Now, it was very my I did take so yours was a way better casting than mine, but I took the time to sand and like polish this really fancy anvil. So mine was a
And
fancy anvil.
let's be honest, you didn't really cast yours either. You took
I
a
did
chunk of
well the
copper and shaved it down.
How did I get the chunk of copper?
Okay, I will. I would say you melted and poured some copper. I won't say you cast some copper. However,
Was
it
it in
was
a
beautifully shot.
mold? Was it in a mold?
Yeah, yeah, okay, we can play with that. It's okay. It wasn't a casting competition, it was just a Monopoly miniature. We never said that we had to cast it, and you did make it look very shiny,
I did, and
and
I
then you
whooped you.
smoked me. It was,
Mhm.
yeah, although on amusingly enough, honestly, of it's interesting, like, we had a much well, actually, when I say we, you had a um, very much increased number of views and votes from normal on yours, which was awesome. Like, not just for you, for both of us in total.
Mhm.
But they definitely translated to a butt whooping for me. So, congratulations. Well done. I'm still proud of my piece. I still think it has the better look. It has more an authentic look to it. It looks like a little
Yeah,
lamp that you dug out of the desert,
for sure, for sure.
but wasn't shiny.
What are you doing with your little copper piece now?
Looking at it on the shelf, playing with it sometimes. I don't know. I don't have a actual use for it at this point. Maybe it'll end up as a little accent piece in a future piece that fits in there nicely.
Mm,
You
mhm,
know,
mhm. I was
but
only asking because I don't know what to do with mine, so
yeah, it's a little bit too small to be a paperweight.
Yep.
You know, it could, if I had a desk job, which I don't. It could be a fidget toy on the desk. No, I don't know. It'll probably like come to markets and sit on the table and let people can look at it and say, "How cute." I don't know. I There wouldn't be a price tag on it if someone actually wanted to buy it. I'm like, no, I don't know. What do you think it's worth?
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It would get lost on my desk, and I again because there's no price tag on it, I'm not sure I would bring it to markets. But fun. I think we definitely need to continue the casting learning and everything, and maybe revisit a casting competition next year or something like that, and actually make it
Actually,
a.
make it a casting competition. It has to be something you cast and not carve.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
No, I agree. It was a lot of fun to do, and I want to do more of it because one, it's a good use of a lot of the scrap stuff. Although we were talking, and the next casting project is a bronze hammer.
Ooh, yes.
Right? We were talking about casting a 2 pound bronze hammer because
Yep.
we were talking last time about the disc cutter I got, and they recommend using a bronze hammer, although I'm using aluminum right now, and I have the 1 pound hammer, and it just doesn't have enough weight to it. I have to smack it a lot harder. So yeah, and I've got some, offcut bronze, that sorry, offcut brass, that we could use. So yeah, that
Cool.
I think is one of the next plans, but definitely want to do it again. And a future casting would be fun. I
Yeah.
agree. But yeah, so that was one of the things that we did wanted to mention as we were doing this is we track our podcast a little bit, and I like watching where we get listened to. Like my mom listens to it. Shout out to mom. Yay. But we have a couple of random ones, and so I want to give a shout out. Or at least I think they're random because we live in Canada, and we've had someone from the beginning who consistently downloads our podcast from the Ukraine, from Kiev. And I just want to send out a shout out and say it's awesome that you listen to it, or at least I don't know if you even listen to it, but you download it regularly. So awesome. And if you do listen to this and you heard it, when you if you do vote, go onto our Instagram, vote and say, "Hey, I'm the guy from Kiev. Thanks for sharing," and thank you for listening. I think that's awesome.
That is pretty cool to see. So yeah, almost
So
from the
yeah, I
beginning.
just wanted to say that.
Cool.
There we go.
Awesome. Awesome. So this month's challenge, we got a little artsy fartsy on this one. Really, the one of the first
Hopefully more
ones.
artsy than fartsy.
Hopefully more artsy than fartsy, but we normally there's a utility thing to it. Even the Monopoly piece, as much as it's it's still supposed to be a game piece or something, have a purpose to it. So this one there was no purpose to.
No, just
Literally, just what do you gain inspiration from for this? So we were trying to do a like a black and white, like a positive negative type of thing with
yeah,
something, and we
oxymoron, two sort of contradictory words put together, and we chose Wild City.
yep,
And then I think one of the fun things is it was how do you how do you want to interpret it? So we could go any which way and just make something that represents it to you.
yep.
So what'd you do?
Well, I because we've made these decisions of what we're doing for these challenges months and months ago, knowing that this one was going to be a little hard to conceptualize, I started doing stuff in my sketchbook like long and ever ago, and I came up with about 5 different things that I wanted to do. And my whole thing was thinking about like if you just left a city, that nature would take it back over. And I was trying to show that, represent that somehow. And I originally thought maybe a pile of like rubble, like have like, cinder blocks and stuff, and then like trees grown out of it or vines or something, and blacksmith some nice scrolled vines. But I wasn't sure the scale was what was messing with me. And I kept coming back to like, the crack in the sidewalk and a dandelion coming through it. But the scale is such that the dandelion would have to be giant or the sidewalk would have to be small. And it wasn't until I actually watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids with my kids that I was like,
Fantastic movie.
oh, it's
Shout out
great.
Rick Moranis.
Because we know he's listening. Um, hashtag Rick Moranis, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Um, but I started having those like, maybe the scale doesn't have to be this. Maybe I can flip the scale. And it was that light bulb moment that I had. So what I did was I made a dandelion with a bunch of grass around it. And the city was kind of like a Honey, I Shrunk This Kid's city, where it's actually nestled in and underneath the grass. So there's a whole cityscape that's maybe, I don't know, 10 to 20 centimeters tall. And then above that, like 30 to 40 centimeters tall, is a bunch of blades of grass and a dandelion that comes up above the whole thing as the top piece. So if you just look at it, it kind of looks like grass and a dandelion. And then you kind of look through it and you can see the city underneath it. So that is my piece.
Ooh, wow, that's I like it. I like the inspiration. I'm kind of curious what the other ideas were now, since you said you had five. See, I didn't have like the first thing that popped into my head was essentially treehouse esque. That idea of a house built in a tree, not city per se, but that's where it started out, and then the idea has morphed and opposed to sort of your concept or your original idea of you know uh, the wild forest jungle slowly reclaiming a city. I went the more Jack and the Beanstalk violent route as nature just kind of came in and went, no, you're done. And so I kind of picture mine as like this is in the used to be what the house in the suburbs, and a tree has just come right up underneath it, picked it up, burst through the house, and it's no longer a livable house. Uh,
You might say
and
it is
it's
batty fanged.
it is a batty fanged house. Very nice, well done, sir. Yeah, it's stuck up in the tree, and so like I built this house, and I built sort of the tree trunk first, and then I got a tree on top of it, and then I actually have main branch bursting through the roof and one out the side window, and one branch curling around and going actually right in front of the door and under the porch, so you can't actually live it anymore, and it's surrounded by this tree. Um, so it's kind of the wild is taking back the city, sort of by the way I kind of and that idea kind of evolved slowly as things were being built and put together. But so how'd you find the challenge though? Because this was different from what we did before.
It, yeah, for sure. And I think for me, it was the hard work was trying to like the concept. I struggled a couple challenges back with with the sleigh, and I had no concept and just built something, and I didn't want to do that again. So I really coming up with like the idea was my hard piece, and then just building all the pieces. There was a lot of sheet metal in this and cutting the little pieces. So I cut each blade of grass, sanded each blade of grass, and then put a groove down the center of each blade of grass before welding it on. So again, lots of little pieces. The dandelion heads all had to be cut out. So I have like, I don't know, 6 plates up there that have the petals and stuff cut into them.
Petals
And
all on there, yeah.
so
Is
there's
it the fluffy dandelion or is it like the yellow dandelion?
this is be the yellow dandelion.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to make the fluffy dandelion. That was
That
uh,
would have been cool.
that would have been cool, maybe for. But I did actually. So I found this like I found the dandelion actually really not meditative, but really like kind of challenging and fun to make. So I've actually made 3 dandelions, so one for the challenge, and then 2 other ones, just because I kind of like the look of it. Not everybody, but a lot of smiths, a lot of blacksmiths, coppersmiths, tinsmiths, um, even weekend warrior type of like metal fabricators make metal roses. It's the thing
Yes,
that we do. It's the first thing that we did that was kind of a challenge and kind of got us going. And um,
absolutely. It is the comet. It's a very pretty shape. It's
yeah,
actually not too hard to make once you sort of got the idea down. Yeah.
and there's a demand for them for sure. Like you can sell them for sure.
Oh,
Um,
Valentine's Day gifts. They're wonderful.
for sure. The everlasting rose. It sells itself. But
And then if you
um
fall into love, you can beat your partner with it.
easy now. Um, but I was like, there's other flowers out there that are pretty, but you know, so the dandelion, I don't know, it just was like one of those like it's an underappreciated cool flower, and I don't know, just this
Yeah,
was
no,
my
that's
like
awesome. I
thing. So
like the idea, I like the concept. And then, yeah, you've got a couple of others you can put them into other builds and whatnot. That's kind of fun.
mhm.
Nice.
How
Yeah,
was it?
see,
How did it go for you?
for me, it wasn't, again, the idea was there. And I think I do a lot less pre-planning than you. And that's probably one of my things I really need to work at is getting some more pre-planning done. Probably be a good idea. But it was around, I don't know, halfway through. I've had a lot of breaks over this last month. Like I'd do a little bit and then stuff would happen. It's been a bit of a tough month. And then I get a little bit more done, and then something else happens, and I'd have to put it down, put it away for a week or so. And so it wasn't one continual smooth build I found. And about yeah, it was about halfway through. I just I was having a hard time seeing it. It wasn't looking the way I liked it, and I was really struggling. And I get to that point where you're like, I'm gonna throw it out. Like I don't like it.
Mm.
It's not gonna do it. Yeah, and it's a really tough spot. And actually, serendipitously, I was doom scrolling on Instagram as I do sometimes, and I actually came across a post by somebody that I follow, I like watching your stuff. Barbie the Welder. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Barbie the
Yep.
Welder, and she was actually talking about an artistic project that she was doing, and she was about halfway through it, and something wasn't going right, and she was just talking about, as a dedicated artist, you can say, you know what, suck it up, keep going. You can not fix what you think is wrong and just do an okay job, or you can take the time, reset, go back a step or two, and persevere. And that's when you get the good stuff that you make. And it was really, a really good post, and it just I found it at the right time. It hit me right at the right time. So thank you, Barbie the Welder. And it really did help me get further on, and it really started to come together, and I quite enjoyed it. So that was the hard part for me is that little hump in the middle. But I'm glad
Yeah.
we got through it, and I'm glad I finished it off. And when you're talking about all those little pieces of grass, I had leaves, a lot of leaves. Now, granted, Less detail on each leaf than I think you've put on each blade of grass. Um, but I think I've got a few more leaves than you have grass. I
How
think
many? How
I
many?
didn't actually, because I know I was actually counting it all the leaves I cut, and I haven't put them all on. I have a few left over, but there's about 243 odd leaves on there right now.
Hokey
So
smokies.
yeah,
So
but
that's using your die cutter to cut
that
those
was using
leaves.
the disc cutter. Yep.
Do you
Yeah.
do you have to do anything with the leaves after you smack the leaf out of it?
Not usually, no. Again, like one of the things because I was using most of my, cut off scraps for those leaves, they had to be cleaned. And so a lot of them were cleaned up, but the edges actually come out generally pretty good. Every now and again, I've got some birds I got to pull off and whatnot. Um, but because they're also leaves, like I don't want the edges, they don't need to be like perfectly clean. Like, they can have a little bit more of that tattered look. So, although they don't tend to, as I sit here, I'm looking at it off on the side there. But yeah, it was good. It was good for teaching me a bit more perseverance.
So are you happy with it now?
I think yeah, I am happy with it. I find this with all of my pieces. I sit there and look at them, and I'm better at looking at the things I don't like at it than the stuff I do like at it. So I'm working at, let's just step back, just take a look at the piece as a whole. One thing I do really like, is I after making the trunk and the branches, I didn't clean up any of the copper. I didn't take off the fire scale. I didn't, I left it a little bit. It's even got a bit of green patina, and so the trunk has all that mottled look to it. The house that is on in the center, I actually used the liver of sulfur to darken it and get some of the reddish patina to it, and then the leaves have been cleaned with. Um, Steel wool, so they're the bright shiny. So you've got 3 different colors as you're looking at it. One of my worries is taking a photo of
Mm,
it. Like,
yes.
every single photo I've taken so far doesn't do it justice. It doesn't look right, where this is more of a piece I find that you need to sorta, look at from different angles and see how it's looking. Ooh, the other fun thing is the house is not actually attached. So, like, you can actually, shake the house, inside the tree. 'Cause it's as
Okay,
if the
cool.
tree just, lifted up. It's not coming out like it is the
Yeah,
the the tree is growing through it, but it's pretty awesome.
cool. I
But
do think that these are ones that, like, I look forward to a market when we put these up as a live vote because I think both of them, the pictures are not going to do the whole thing justice. Like as I kind of was talking about mine, it's literally you can't see the the city through the grass, right? It's kind of like if you just look at the top of it, it looks like just a lawn with a dandelion, and then you kind of look through at a different angle where you can't really see the dandelion and you see the city. So like where if you take a picture from the top, you lose the city. If you take a picture from the city, you lose the dandelion, and it's a weird, hard to balance those things. So
yeah, and when we post, like, you can't post video, like, we can't put up the videos, like, we'll put them on our Instagrams, but the actual, you know, competition page that has the voting thing, it's a still photo.
yeah,
So you can't, like, zoom in and move around and
yeah. Now, the other thing we've started to do a little bit more, I assembled mine all in one day. Um, so I finished the smithing of it and welding and stuff of it in one day, and I put up stories of like the progress and everything like that. And for the first time, you started doing a lot of reels or more reels than just one. Of like a progress of the piece and everything like that. So how did you find like the thinking about the progress and trying to share the progress with people? Was that something that was beneficial to you, or do you think that's more beneficial to people that may be voting?
Yeah, well, we'll see how the voting goes, and we'll answer that afterward. I don't know if it was beneficial to me as just, changing the way I think about, you know, showing how I produce something.
Right.
It wasn't beneficial, I don't think, for the project itself because it was, took more time. And
Right.
then, just like, because I couldn't just sit there and do it. I'm like, okay, no, okay, I need the camera here and I need these pieces around me. And then, okay, and I want to make sure I'm doing this. So there was a lot more before I actually started doing stuff. Um, but it was fun making those reels. I want to make a few more. I'm figuring out what's the best way to do that 'cause it's fun and I'm enjoying it. And I've had some good comments of people enjoying seeing what I'm doing. So yeah, it was good for my personal growth and becoming a better person.
Well, that's good
What am I
because
becoming a
I
better tinsmith, coppersmith?
maybe a better Instagrammer though. Inf-
Maybe, but yeah. So I need to like because now that I put a couple pictures. I haven't shown any pictures of the finished project with all the leaves on it yet. So that's the I'll have to put that up.
So,
But
so how are you feeling? How are you feeling? You've seen pictures of mine. You have yours in front of you. How are you feeling?
I don't think I'm confident one way or the other. I think honestly, it's coming down to the photos again. Like
Yeah.
it's how can I get a good shot? Like as I finished tonight, it's dark out, so I took a couple shots indoors. I'm gonna try to go outside tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll get a good light to get some shots of it outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I
actually
don't know.
I thought about taking mine to like I have a friend who's more of a into photography and film stuff, and I was going to take it to them and be like, "Can you do your thing on this and make me?"
Do your little
I don't.
magic. I need an edge. I need an
Yeah,
edge.
I don't have time for that now because we do plan on posting this on February 28th. So the live
Yes.
voting, if you want to see these, you can actually go on to our Instagrams, Deer Run Forge for myself, Tapley Tinsmith for Kipling, or Brothers in Smithing. We'll have links to all these things. And on the 28th, you can go into our stories and actually vote for these. And that's how we decide the winner of these challenges. It's only for bragging rights and really motivation to keep doing this because the last time, so I actually got my forge out today. Um, and the last time that I forged before that was when I finished this challenge, which was on the 1st of February. So, if it wasn't for these challenges, I wouldn't be out there doing the thing. So,
No, no, it's a good reason to get out there and doing it, and it's fun. Uh, we have a good time, and you're back in the lead again. You know,
yep.
you're at. Sorry, I think you have 20 wins. Is that what it is now? And I have 19. Sorry, my other thing went down. And you know what I've discovered is that my iPad that uses a fingerprint ID doesn't work with rubber gloves on.
There you go.
Shockingly.
Shockingly.
Um, but yeah, so you have 20 wins, I have 19, and we still have 4 ties. So, but this is definitely gonna,
Mm.
go online, vote for me, and then when we get to a market, you can come out and see them live, and you can vote for me again. So
No.
honestly, like because I haven't seen yours in person, but you described the size of it, and this is definitely one of the larger pieces I have. When we put these on the table, there's not going to be room for a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's mine in front of my face. It covers my face.
Yeah.
So, ooh, hang on, hang on. Let me get a phone out here. I'm gonna take a picture to post
Okay.
on the thingies. Hang on, see if I can
Are we
hide the
going to hide behind our
phone.
foliage?
Yeah, hide behind the foliage. Ready? Smile.
Oh,
There we go. So we'll see how that goes. I'm happy with mine. I definitely something I would not never have built if it wasn't for this challenge. So
no, not at all. I again quite happy with the process. Quite happy going through it. Looking forward to doing some more artistic stuff as well in the future. Although I like making the practical stuff pretty too. That's fun too.
yep. So to divulge from the divulge,
That's to
deviate from
deviate. I'm like
to
to divulge
deviate.
is to like tell a secret or something.
Didn't say English was my great strong suit. Um, to
It's a good thing you
deviate
have
from
other
the
languages
challenges
to
for
fall
a
back
second. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I also speak.
on.
um, but anyway, to deviate from the challenges, um, do you want to go into some woes first, or some
Sure.
wonders?
Some wonders and woes. I think
Wonders
I
and
have
woe.
the woe, you have the wonder.
I have many a good wonder. It has been a good month for me in acquisitions for the shop. I say shop with quotation fingers because I don't actually have a shop. I have a
The
front
basement?
yard and a basement, but yeah. One of the first ones actually wanted to share was I saw on Instagram, um, uh, the abstract blacksmith was using a magnetic chuck to hold his plasma cut pieces to grind the the stuff off the edge of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's kind of seems excessive. Like magnetic chucks, by the way, if you don't know what they are, um, it's basically just a piece of metal. It looks like a piece of metal that you would um, anchor somehow, and then there's generally a key on it or some way to turn it on and off, and it just slides magnets, so it changes the magnetic, and it's not, you don't plug it in or anything like that. You just slide the magnets, and the surface becomes magnetic, and then you
Okay.
turn it the other way, and the surface becomes non-magnetic. So it's a way of holding generally flat pieces. Still, they use them on surface grinders and stuff a lot. Um, and grinding all the leaves and stuff that I make for the hooks and everything, I generally just put my foot on one side of it and then grind the one side. And you got to bend over. There's no good way of holding it in a vise. And I started looking at magnetic chucks, or mag chucks, as everybody likes calling them. They're expensive. They're like multiple hundreds of dollars.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's pricey.
so I was like, well, that's not really. So you start looking on Marketplace and stuff. Well, I found one on eBay for a singular $100, and I was like, well, I don't know where it's coming from, but you know, it's somewhat guaranteed through eBay. So ordered it. Took forever to get here. It got here the other day, and I cut out maple leaves that are about 2 inches tall. No way of being able to clean those up otherwise. And you can put them on that, turn the magnet on, grind them down, flip it off, flip them over, grind it. Man, it is slick as everything. It is really, really cool. And
Ah.
the more I have it, the more I'm like, you know, pretty enthralled with the usefulness of it. And because I paid such a low price for it, not that I've taken dings and chips out of it yet, but I don't really mind if the grinder kind of kisses it every once in a while. Um, so I've put about an hour and a half of grinding on top of it now, and I haven't found something flat that it won't hold. It wouldn't hold a bar straight up and down, but if it's
Yeah.
flat, it holds enough, has enough surface tension on the magnet to
Yeah.
hold it there. So,
So hold it with a grinding. Oh, that's nice.
hmm,
Very cool. Well, that sounds fun. Well, here, do you
there,
want my woe? Because it actually relates to magnetism too.
there you go. Go
So
for it.
here's my woe. It's you know what's my solution?
Right.
So you know I've done a bunch of different things to hold tools up, and we were talking about files a while back,
Yeah.
and you suggested those magnetic strips, which is a great idea. Love them. And I threw a couple other things on them. And one of the things I threw up on were some flyers because again they hold up really really well.
Now they're magnetic.
And now they've got a bit of a yeah a magnetic charge on them. And I work with steel wool a lot, so there's steel wool filings. So again, the cleanup is fine. Like I don't, between I've got a little magnet. I just wave over my workbench and it cleans up them a lot. But I also have a really great vacuum cleaner. But while you're working, you get these little steel wool fibers stuck to your pliers, which are annoying.
Hmm.
Any I don't. What's it? Do you know a way to I haven't even looked it up. I really should. There might be ways that how to demagnetize your tool.
There is a way because there's a block. I want to say it's a block. Um, like you know how some screwdrivers have a magnetic
Yep.
end and some don't, and
Hmm.
then some that are magnetic somehow become non-magnetic somehow, and whatever. So there is a tool out there. It's a little block that you pass your screwdriver typically over one way and it magnetizes it. And if you flip the thing over and you pass it through the other way, it demagnetizes it. So it has to do with polarity, obviously, of the magnet. I don't know how it works, but there is a thing. And I'm sure that if you were to be able to Google that or something, you would find that, pass it north to south or south to north multiple times in one direction and it would demagnetize it versus the other
Yeah.
way. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and I'm sure there is. And I get it. We'll take a quick Google and probably solve it. But it's only really an issue because of the 200 and some odd leaves that I was doing because they were tiny and I was cleaning them with steel wool, but I'm holding them in a pair of pliers and then I'm holding them to get them attached and filing everywhere.
Yep.
But so yeah, that's my problem to solve.
Well,
Little Google hunt.
good luck with that.
Yeah.
Actually, you want to have one of my woes?
Yes.
So
Okay. Well, I thought you it was only a wonder month.
no, I have a slight woe, and it's a positive woe. Um,
Oh.
so I only get to get out and blacksmith uh, maybe once, twice a month, right?
Yeah.
So anytime you get a new tool, you're like, I want to use it, I want to use it. So I had a whole bunch of things like ordered, and I was kind of waiting, kind of waiting, kind of waiting, and I went and blacksmithed and stuff today, and just as I was putting everything away, two different tools showed up. They were both, one was delivered in the mail, one was delivered by whatever, one of the delivery services and stuff after I'd put the forge away. And I was like, but I want to
Oh,
play with them
hi,
now.
buddy.
And if it had been 12 hours earlier or 24 hours like yesterday, I would have got to play with them today. So now I have to wait until a couple weeks until I get to play again. But
Hmm. Tough life.
right? Do you want to do an eggle?
We can do an eggle. This week's eggle, where we're going to do a lead into our next month's challenge. This month's eggle. If you do listen to this podcast, if you're one of the the 15 people that listen to us, probably know that we both worked for Ontario Parks and we were both naturalists. So the question is, what is the coolest wildlife sighting that you have had? Or, a cool one doesn't have to be the coolest if you can't think of like the top one off the top of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I don't think that you were there, so you're not going to steal mine. So why don't you go first? Because I kind of
I
have a
know you
couple
weren't
that I
there for
want.
mine.
Okay,
Oh, you got
you
a
go
couple.
first.
I was just picking one.
No. I
So,
was trying to decide between two, so
oh, okay.
you go first.
So mine, I used to work at a park down in the southern part of Ontario called Rondo Provincial Park, and we would occasionally run evening programs. And we'd bring people to the visitor center. We'd do a little sort of orientation, and then we would go outside for a bit of a night hike and see what's what. And I can't even remember what the program was about. It had nothing to do with what we saw. Yeah, I did my little preamble spiel. We stepped out of the visitor center and literally in the parking lot, hadn't gone on a trail, gotten anywhere. A pair of bald eagles came overhead, and they did their mating ritual. They actually flew together, grasped talons, like spiraled, spun out, like crashing towards the ground, broke apart, like let go, split up, went up, and then flew away. It was just mind blowing. Like I literally wanted to turn around and say, "Okay, go home," because It's done. You're not seeing anything cooler than that tonight. That was the best thing ever. It was just awesome because and the whole thing, like, literally, it happened over the parking lot. It was, at the bottom of their spiral, they might have been 10 feet from us. It was just, wow, cool, bald eagles, amazing. Yeah,
Super cool.
it was
Super cool.
very cool.
Um, I'm gonna go with, uh, although I've seen a bunch of really cool things, I'm gonna go with a black bear, and I was deer hunting. So you're sitting there trying to be quiet and everything like that, and I was up on a cliff, and uh, this little bear. We weren't hunting bear, and I wasn't interested in shooting a bear or anything like that. And this little bear comes up, and there's oak trees and beech trees down at the bottom of the cliff. One of the reasons the deer come there, well, same reason the bear comes there. And this little, I would say, probably like yearling, 2-year-old bear, not a big bear, not a baby bear, comes up and he kind of starts rooting around just like pigs do. They kind of use their nose and you can kind of hear him, snorting away a little bit. And he finds a good spot of nuts and he sits down on his butt with his butt on the ground, his legs wide open, and starts just pulling leaves into his crotch area. And then he kind of like puts his head down and sniffs around and starts pulling acorns from them, like with his paws, and then he clearly goes through those leaves and he just kind of reaches behind the I actually laughed out loud because he kind of reached behind him like, a dude sitting on the couch reaching for his beer or something like that. And he just grabbed another armload of leaves and brought them in and went through those. And he did it again on the other side. I was sitting up there like snorting and laughing, and I'm surprised it didn't scare it away. One of the most enjoyable, and just getting to share space with this thing, doing this thing, it was pretty cool. So
Nice. Couch potato bear. Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So, why does this lead into next month's?
So I, we're getting a little bit more artsy again. This one's a
Yeah.
little more. Again, there's no real purpose to this one, I
No.
guess. Um, but there is a sort of more of a project style to it. So my wife is a geography teacher, a high school geography teacher, and as their one of their summative things at the end of the course, they have to kind of put all of their knowledge into a project. And I don't know if you remember those ones where like you pick a province or you pick a the boreal forest and you do a poster on the boreal forest or
Yeah.
whatever. Instead of doing that, she got them to make up an animal that doesn't currently exist and make it have some features or things about it that would suit it to a certain habitat, and then highlight some of the uh, challenges that creature might have in that habitat, relating it all back to the or geography thinking skills and stuff like that, and everything they've learned throughout the course. And so I've come up with a couple examples over the years, and her students could sketch them or create them or make them out of clay or whatever. And a lot of students started using AI for it. This goes back 5-10 years now, where they would like the first kid who used AI was like, "What? You can do that?" Now they all use it. Um, but she called them her geocritters. So taking this idea of creating an animal that doesn't currently exist but could exist, so it's not like something that's like uh, like a I don't know, a sky cloud dragon. It like is
Okay.
something that
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, not right.
Essentially, we're Frankensteining our own animal, kind of idea.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of the students ended up doing was they'd take one or sorry, two or more animals and kind of mashing them together to create a animal that doesn't currently exist. So that at the root of the next challenge is really what it is making an animal, combining two animals that don't currently exist, um, and
Into
making
our very
it.
own geocritter. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is going to be really awesome and exciting. And I think because we, got this idea from your wife. I think she should guest star on our podcast next time.
I I have invited her, and she's not against the idea. Um,
Oh,
I
there
keep
we go.
uh, I keep recommending that she maybe listens to one to see before she agrees. But as we both worked in Ontario parks and did multiple different programs, and we've done musical programs together and sing on stage, my wife was always one to just like be like, "Yeah, sure, I'll join you on stage," and just join us and start singing along and stuff. So yeah,
There we go. So yeah,
yeah,
no,
it
I
might
think you
happen.
should convince her to come on, right? Because that would be good. That
Yeah.
would be good. Yeah, so that'll be next month, and looking forward to that. Anything else we need to cover tonight?
Well, do you have any thoughts or ideas? We normally have a couple,
Oh,
like,
do we want? Oh, we can tell you. I've got a couple thoughts about you because we don't have to have the same habitat, so we can be
mm-mm,
anywhere you want. So I'm going kind of deserty
mhm.
is where I'm going. I don't know how I don't we don't want to let the cat out of the bag. I don't think. And
No,
no,
no, no,
mine doesn't
but
have a
like
cat in it.
you,
Just so you know.
you're doing more. You have been working on your wire work and wire
Yeah,
trying
so
work.
I'm thinking some combination of wire work as well as actually I've got an idea to use my disc cutter again.
Ooh.
So yeah, so again this time like this last one, assembly is going to be interesting. I'm also going to try to keep it a bit smaller than this last one. This last one is what about a little over a foot tall,
Yeah,
maybe 8 inches wide. So we're gonna go a bit smaller this time.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how far we want to you know release the ideas.
No, no, no. It's just sometimes we tease it out a little bit,
Okay.
and
Well, do you
I
have a
already I
habitat
have
in mind?
mine is more of an urban dwelling creature, gonna hang out with you.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, like maybe even in your house, but not,
Oh, you're
directly
doing
with.
like a little house hippo for those of you who
Yeah,
ever used to watch that commercial. I don't know that I think that kind of dates us and puts it. I don't know if house hippos were anywhere but in Canada and the United States.
no, it was a Canadian commercial, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, which
So
they've redone, and I actually saw a patch for sale online the other day that says "I believe in house hippos," and then the little footprints at the bottom, and I was very, very tempted to buy one.
absolutely. Who didn't want a house
Um,
hippo? And for
yeah.
those of you who are listening,
Um,
like, what are you talking about? There was a commercial about not believing everything you saw on TV a long time ago,
yeah,
and it was about this little tiny little house hippo that would live in your closet and eat, you know, dust bunnies.
peanut
I think.
butter. No, it ate peanut butter. It ate
Okay, well, I
the
can't remember.
crust of your peanut butter, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Lived in
everybody
it
wants.
bathed in your dog's water dish, and yep, yeah. Um, no, I already have a good idea of mine, so I've plasma cut out the shapes and stuff of mine, and I even got to cleaning and shaping and stuff already. So mine's gonna be
Ooh.
handheld. Um, so
I
pretty
don't think it's going
cool.
to be handheld. I'm going to have to create a little base for it and whatnot. But and you were using some AI software for some ideas too, which was kind of fun.
I did, yeah. I've never really played with it, and I just started being like, one of the ones was a hippo and a shark. Like, what would a hippo and a shark look like? And
A shark
then,
poke.
a
Yeah.
sharkapo. And then the other
But
one I had thought was a bear and a penguin. What if you put a bear and a penguin? And I'm like, that was kind of cute. So, and then the idea that I am actually going to try, I'm not going to say
no,
too
we don't.
too
I said we
much.
don't want to get to it because then we won't have anything to talk about next month
Yep.
with your wife.
Fingers crossed. Never know.
Best thing is like she never listens to this, so she doesn't know I'm like badgering her to come on.
I was gonna say you can say what you want. She's not gonna listen.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Uh, have a better chance of your kids or my kids hearing it.
Yes, my
Anyway,
kid.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Your kids
Oh
do
no, I was
listen
gonna
to
say
it.
yeah, my kids were into it for a little bit, but then they're like, okay, yeah, we've heard it now. We don't need to hear Dad talk anymore.
We don't need to listen to Uncle Andrew
Yeah,
and Dad talk.
we can
Yep.
do that, anytime we want.
Well,
All
we will
right.
post our wild cities coming up very shortly here,
Yeah,
end of
Friday the
February.
28th. So do check out Tapleyton Smith, or Deer Run Forge or Brothers Smithing on Instagram. Vote for mine because I'm losing now, so we got to get tied back up. Yeah,
He
I'll take some
doesn't
of these
need
votes.
your pity. Vote for mine because it's better and just
No, no.
it's cool and you know it reminds you of Honey I Shrunk the Kids. So also you
Hashtag
can
Rick
follow.
Moranis. Get Rick Moranis on board. It's all about Rick Moranis.
If I can get him to vote for mine, I win. I don't even care.
Default win. Rick Moranis voted for me.
Can you imagine he looks at them both and then votes for yours? Be like,
Awesome.
dang it. But we are gonna try to post more stuff about creating and how our projects and challenges and stuff are coming along too. So do follow along on Instagram, and we're gonna try to build that up a little bit more too, and show you a little bit more process stuff. So if you see anything or you want to have any questions, feel free to comment and like and share and all that good stuff as well, because it is what inspires us to make these crazy things and keep having fun in these conversations like this. So thank you everybody for listening and following along and voting for the better Smith, which is me.
Oh,
You can give Kipling a
well, you're
couple
the better
pity votes.
blacksmith. I'll give you that. I cannot compete in the blacksmithing area, but Smith. Mm, although you're ahead right now, I don't agree. So vote for mine because that way he doesn't get to say that anymore. And
You go
also,
back.
one more shout out to our friend in Kiev,
Yep,
because I just think it's awesome that somebody halfway around the world is listening to us. Because
it is pretty cool to
it's
think
kind of
of the
funny.
impact that we can have, or at least how far it goes, and like
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have any impact whatsoever, but if you get a couple chuckles, that makes me happy.
for
All right,
sure.
sir, you have a good night,
Me
and
too. Good luck.
may the best tree house thingy win, which is mine, obviously.
It's a wild city, not a
Yeah, I
tree
know.
house. Yours looks like a tree house. It's not a.
It's the
Yours
wild
is like
taking
a
back the
wild
city.
house. It's a wild house. Like one house does not make a city.
Yeah, interpretation. Are you unaware of what that word means? It's an interpretation, and it's part of the suburb city that's been ripped out. So, yes, I just raspberry.
Have a good one.
All
I'll
right,
see
you
you when
too.
I win. See ya.
Good night.